I'm always excited to talk about money, BD Kimberly Williams. And this topic here, oh my goodness, it's a game changer. Would you say the same?
Absolutely right. We love talking about money, and we start with this tool here that we're going to be talking about with winning with the financial needs analysis. So, we're going to talk about the importance of a financial needs analysis, which is called an FNA. So, what is an FNA?
Well, I know that it's essential. It's like a snapshot of your finances, and it's crucial because it provides a clear structure in the way that someone understands their full financial picture so that they can make smart decisions. I know that everyone needs a plan, especially when you have a target or you're trying to accomplish a goal. You need to know, well, what are the steps? What are the benchmarks that I need to make in order to accomplish that goal? How do you think that financial needs analysis impact people's lives?
Absolutely. It is basically the starting. This is where it all starts, right? When someone sit down and they said, okay, I want to do better, or I need help with retirement, or I need to learn how to budget, it all starts here, right? Because you see the main things where it says clear, structured way, right? It
Mm.
is a full financial picture. So, in order, before we can give any recommendations, we want to make sure that we assess the situation properly, right? Like I always said, Erica, you don't go to the doctor and you just walk into the doctor and they hand you a prescription, right? You're going to look at that doctor like he's crazy. That's the same thing in our financial space. And that's what that financial needs analysis is. It is a personalized checkup for your finances to understand where you are today and plan where you want to go, right? So it's very, very crucial.
Well, I don't even think that people realize that they should have a plan for their money. I believe that sometimes people are just accustomed to maybe they are addicted to get receiving a paycheck and they know, well, hey, I can kind of be lax in what I'm doing and not really paying attention and make all of these additional charges because I'm going to have this paycheck coming in every month or twice a month. And so I can just take it easy.
Absolutely. I agree. If you look at the statistics, many people are living paycheck to paycheck, right? They're automatically depending upon that next check when they get that one, right? What happens if that next check doesn't come? Then it's going to be, uh-oh, right? So
Yeah,
that's why we're here to make sure that people do plan for those things and not live that way. Because I always tell people, people don't like to fail, right? They
mm,
just fail to plan. So if you don't plan correctly, most likely you will end up failing in the money game. So make sure that you start here with the basics of a financial needs analysis.
that's why I'm so excited to be a part of our free financial community forum because a lot of habits are passed down generation and generation. And if you were not born into a family that's accustomed to talking about money or handling money, you miss out on all of those important conversations. And so just having this forum where they can see, oh, you know what, that was me, or that does concern me. I know that I'm not by myself with understanding just the basics of what I need to know about money because money is a part of our life and it can be a emotional subject.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I can say I was a product of that. We learn a lot of things, and unfortunately, it is passed down. So when you look at your parents just basically saying, hey, you got to make this last until the end of the month, right? There has more month and more money, right? And not having conversations or talking about budgeting. Unfortunately, you grow up developing those same habits. So I do agree. This financially lit forum is a great tool to help our community so we can break that generational curse and those bad habits.
So why do you think it's so important to sit with a professional, maybe an insurance agent or just a financial advisor to go over and look at your finances to have that type of wealth checkup?
Wow, the financial needs analysis is so detailed. As you can see here, first of all, we do need to get an understanding of your full financial picture, right? So we need to understand what is your income, right? What are you bringing in? What are your expenses? And those are things that, whether they're like, this is the first of the month, what's it due? Rent, mortgage, So these are the things that we definitely need to track. Then what are we saving? How much debt do we have? And then what are some goals that we are wanting to achieve from this? When I do a financial needs analysis, I always ask, what are the three main things that you want to take away from this meeting today? And that's basically to have an understanding so you can make sure that you address those things. Because income is very important because that's what pays all of the expenses, right? But then what's left over? That's called discretionary income. So we have to understand that because a lot of people discretionary income that it shows on paper is not is not in actuality real life. When you identify this person, you're like, okay, this is what you should have left over. Majority of them say, I don't never
Where
see that
is
in my
it? Like,
savings.
what is discretionary income? Where is it? I mean, oh my goodness. I see the numbers, I see the direct deposit in my account, but I don't see it in my life. And that's
That's
because of
it.
the habits that we have. And sometimes we may have signed up for subscription services, and then we don't utilize those subscription services, and it just piles up one to another. Have you ever sat down with the client and completed a financial needs analysis for that client? That client was like, oh, I forgot I had that. I didn't even know we were spending money like that. How often does that happen?
Can I testify? It was me. When I had my financial needs analysis done, I cried because I realized that, hold on, I never actually just sit down to see where's my money going. I had three memberships, was not even going to one. I had all these subscriptions. I found out all this money I'm wasting eating out. When I did the math, I was like, OMG, that's where my money is going. So when I did that financial needs analysis, it was like a aha number, a aha moment, Erica. The light bulb went off, and I was like, okay, that's why it's important that everyone needs to go through the financial needs analysis because I did identify money that I didn't even know I had. I did find a way to cut my expenses down to be able to save more money and to pay off more debt. But it all started with that FNA.
That's right. And I was the same way when we sat down as a family and we started answering the questions of a well-structured financial needs analysis. That's important. That'll help you highlight all of those things. And we looked at the grocery bill and how much we were spending in the restaurant. And I say it's proof in our weight. It's proof in the weight. We should have swapped that for maybe that gym membership. But I was just shocked. I was like, are we feeding a whole community? What are we doing here? And just going to the grocery store without a plan, grabbing something or going when you're hungry. So you get all of those little snacks on the way and you go in for maybe one item, you come out with 15 and it's useless to you. And so it's really good to know that hey, there is a plan for our money as well. We have a plan. We have checkups for our health. There's a plan for our money. And this tool just helps advisors. It helps insurance agents, retirement specialists, that people that are supposed to be a part of your support group as you are moving through life. It helps them help you. So the financial needs analysis is very important because it helps you understand your full financial picture, where you are today and where you want to go, and you just think of it as that checkup, just like business director Kimberly Williams said, like going to the doctor, those checks for your health. Before giving advice, we need to look at your income and expenses and savings and debts and goals before making any recommendations to say, hey, maybe repositioning this or allocating funds in this area will help you get there sooner or faster, because it's a life happens to everyone, and then we can all have missteps where we forget that we've signed up for something, or that we can forget where our goal is because the pressure of life. And so having that in front of you and having that support team, whether it's an insurance agent, a retirement specialist, or a financial advisor, reminding you this is where we started, but this plan is also flexible. So this process makes sure we that you're able to identify any gaps and and make sure that you know your numbers when you're setting goals. Goals are just crucial. It's crucial to have
Awesome.
goals, right?
Before you go there, BD Eric, I wanted to look at that last number 5 because I wanted to highlight something that's it. I see something on there and it says track and adjust over time.
Mhm.
So is it important to do this every year or is it a one-time thing? Because we know life changes, right? And we have
Yeah.
different things. So is it important that we do this one time or is this a consistent thing that we should be doing?
You know what? I think it should be consistent. I think we should do this more often than we go to the doctor because at doctor we have annual appointments and it just depends on your age group. You may or your situation. You may have to see your doctor every 3 months or you're on a 6 month cycle. But with our finances, because it dictates every aspect of our lives, it's necessary. I think that we should check it at least once every other month or so if you're clear about your plan. But if you're one of those people that needs monitoring at the grocery store like myself, maybe once a month you need to check in.
And but at least once a year, right? Let's at least keep it annually for the longest is annually.
I can agree about that. And just the financial needs analysis help you be serious about your goals. Because we could say, oh, I want to make six figures, or I want to be a millionaire, or I want to write my own book, or I want to take my dream vacation. Well, looking at what you're doing and your spending habits or your saving habits, where the gaps are, will help you know that, oh, I can get to that goal in X amount of time. So that's
Very,
very important.
very important prioritizing. And the thing of it is, I always recognize when I sit with a client, it may be overwhelming, but what I do is I break it down in bite-sized pieces, right? So
Hmm.
we want to buy a home, we have to start off with the basics of things. If we want to fund for college or anything like that. So it's basically helping them break it down to help them achieve their goals. Let's start making progress, right? Let's take it one step at a time. And now we can basically see ourselves reaching that instead of just being so overwhelmed with trying to do it all at once because it's not easy.
That's true. And it helps you identify the risk that you may be in. You may be in more risk than what you thought, or you may not even be aware of the risk that uh, you're positioning your money in. It helps you to have those conversations, and then you find out about other tools, other solutions where you can either manage that risk or come out of that situation altogether because it does not align with your goals. It
Absolutely.
definitely highlights those shortfalls. And
Absolutely. I
that's a good
agree.
thing. Like you said earlier, tracking and making those adjustments, having that clear roadmap where you know, okay, I can put a timeline to this. It's measurable. This is where I want to go, and this is how I'm going to get there. And I can expect at the minimum to have this type of income, especially when it comes to retirement. Um, I love just what Professor Eduardo Sprague shared in our training the other day that retirement is not an age. And a lot of people think, oh, well, when I'm 65, I'm going to retire. Really? Have you sat down with someone and identified your numbers to had a financial needs analysis and know if you can afford to retire or what your retirement situation would look like? How much money do you have generating for yourself coming in without you tied to actually physically putting yourself in a situation to get that income, whether you're tied to a job or you are a business owner, you're self-employed, or you are just you have maybe some inheritance. How long or does that income will that income buy you in time, because that's what we have, and time is very precious, and just having a financial needs analysis helps us clarify that and put things in perspective.
Yes, just like I said, most people can't tackle every financial goal at once, right? So we have to start somewhere. So it's all about the prioritizing what's the most important, right? And then FNA helps prioritize which issues needs immediate attention, like income protection or debt reduction, and which can be addressed over time. So it's very important to understand that everyone's financial picture looks different. So it's very important to make sure that we implement this with all our clients and making sure that we identify what is the priorities for you. Is it debt management? Is it making sure we protect our income, right? It was making sure we have these immediate things that the most important to us. So now we can work on the next step over time.
Well, another concern that I hear about is trust and professionalism. How can someone identify if they are really sitting in front of a professional that they can trust and not just a salesperson?
Absolutely. And this is so crucial, especially being in the industry of in the financial industry. So many people already had bad experiences or maybe a little jaded. So it's very important that you come in and build that rapport and that trust because you're looking to make a lifelong client, a family member to help them along the way. So it's very important because if they don't trust you, they won't move forward or they won't be as accurate as they should be. And we know in order to make sure that that financial needs analysis is done correctly, they need to give the best, the best answers, the correct answers, so we can make sure we're putting the correct plan in place. So trust and professionalism is of utmost importance.
I definitely agree with that. Because if you wanted to learn how to drive, you wouldn't go see your doctor, you would go to a driving school. And so, we're talking about money, you definitely need to have someone on your team that's knowledgeable, that can guide you, that can help you identify and give you the best tools to track so you will know the progress that you're making. And one thing when it comes to tracking, I certainly had to switch my mindset, not to compare myself with anyone else, but only with me and the goals that I set to make sure that they're measurable and I'm accomplishing those goals. Because we can get sidetracked and like, oh, well, we started saving at the same time and she's taking a dream vacation and I'm still here. I must be doing something wrong. But just sitting down with that professional that and having that financial needs analysis will let you know and kind of ease those concerns. I am on track. It's just maybe I don't know what their plan was or what was included. But do you,
Absolutely. We're not going to be keeping up with the Joneses, right? So
that's
they get a new car and we go get more debt and go buy a new car. No, we have to stay in our own lane, remember what's important and focus on our progress, right? Because everybody's in a different situation. So we don't know that, but we know what we need to do. So as life circumstances change, like we mentioned, this year someone may be single, the next year they meet their marriage. Those goals change, tremendously. But what if they get a new job? Now they're making more money or they lose a job and then have less money, children, retirement. That's why the FNA can be updated to reflect new needs and goals, making it a living part of someone's financial health.
That's right. And so for that roadmap, you want to make sure that you're looking at your full picture, your full financial picture, whether it's the income, the expenses, the goals, the debt. You want to identify your gaps, your risks, set clear financial goals for yourself. You want to work with someone that you can trust, where you can trust them with your dreams to know they may not be the expert if you want to own a home, but they can help you get to that dollar amount that will help you do that and help you build a personalized action plan and of course the tracking. So here's some examples of some FNAs, and I know that you really love to use the wealth checkup. So how would you approach a client or someone who is interested in setting up a roadmap for their finances with the wealth checkup here?
Oh, yes, absolutely. The wealth checkup is my favorite because when you say the wealth checkup, they automatically assume health checkup. And I always get them with that. And then I go in and said, okay, yes, just like you said, you had a health checkup this year. When was the last time you sat down and looked at your financial picture? And then I ask questions. Are you on track to reaching your goals? Do you know what your retirement number is? Is debt something that you're concerned about? What about having a lifetime income? Hey, let's look at this. And I want you to look at this wealth checkup. And the first step is I want you to prioritize what's important from 1 to 8, whether it's the wealth building side or the risk management. So now we can identify the top three and we can help them because as you can see, it's color coded. And I love that, right? And we
Yes.
know when we get in the red, that's trouble, right? So I
Okay,
know
green,
ever
go,
since
go, go.
ever since I've been doing these, I've never had one client that has been in the green in all these categories. So that lets you
Oh
know there
my
is a
goodness.
huge demand and a need to make sure that we are implementing these financial needs analysis, these tools, and these wealth checkups in order to help because it's so, I love it's colorful, it's catchy, it's easy to understand. You check where you're at, and then we schedule an appointment to discuss those things so we can help them with the plan to achieve what they need to achieve.
That is amazing. Well, I certainly enjoyed talking with you all the time, Business Director Kimberly Williams. And if you would like to see her more or get more information from this financial literacy forum, you can find us on our YouTube channel at OIC 10K Totally Lit. Thank you for allowing us to share this information with our community. And we're looking forward to seeing you guys really soon again. Thank you, BD Kimberly Williams. I mean, you have
Absolutely.
always
Great
helped me.
job, VD Erica. Amazing.
Excellent.